in a month or so. But joining me now is Dr. Bertolt Meyer, who has the latest bionic arm hand fitted, although he didn't have his arm amputated like the two men we've just seen. You're in fact born without the left, without the left arm. Now, what does it do?
Well, it can grasp like a normal hand, like this. You can pick up objects, moving all the fingers. You can tell it to do different grip patterns. For example, you can rotate the wrist. This actually goes all the way, so you can basically screw in a light bulb without letting go.
Disorientating.
Oh, well. And you can send different control signals to it to make it do different things. So, for example, you can tell it to park these four fingers and only move the thumb, which is very useful. So now these four fingers didn't move, right? Just the thumb,
right.
Which is very useful for donning and doffing clothing, for example. You can set it back to moving all the fingers. What you can also do is you can tell it to only move these two fingers here. So these three are parked, and that's very useful for picking up smaller objects. So, for example, like here, like a pen, like this.
And how are you telling the fingers to do that? I mean, it's not through its nerves, muscles. What is it?
It's muscles. It's muscles. It's the muscle that would actually be used for this kind of movement if the hand was there. So this is opening and this is closing, and then there is kind of special moves.
So are you? Let me get this right.
Yeah.
You're saying I want to pick up a pen.
Yeah.
Your brain is thinking I want to pick up a pen.
Yeah.
And this action is being perpetrated or originated by a muscle somewhere just above your elbow.
Exactly.
Are you physically telling that muscle, or not physically, are you mentally telling that muscle you've got to move?
No, it's fully proceduralized over time. It's something that you have to learn over time. So at the beginning, when you first use a prosthesis like this, it's like, okay, I want it to open or I want it to turn, so I have to flex the muscle there so that it moves there. But over time, this intermediate step completely goes away. It proceduralizes, like reverse parking, right? You don't have to think about how to do it, you just do it. And that's how this works as well. So I am at a point where I just, think open and opens, just naturally, like you would with your hand.
And there are lots of different settings that you can put this on.
Right, so there's four different grip patterns that my hand does when I send different control signals to it. For example, it will park these four fingers and only move the thumb if I send three quick consecutive opening signals to the hand. But it can do many, many more, like a library of different grip patterns out of which you choose. And there's a Bluetooth interface. It comes with a software. The software connects to the prosthesis via Bluetooth. A small Scottish company called Touch Bionics. They're a startup. They're a spin-off.
Am I right in thinking that this is one of the good things that's come out of Iraq and Afghanistan, that so many very injured servicemen arrived back? There's been a great incentive to develop these better.
Well, it sounds a little cynical, but as far as I know, this is the case. These soldiers nowadays, they wear these body armors that protect the vital organs against injuries. So many more soldiers come back alive, but with horrible injuries, especially amputations. So there is a surging demand for high-tech prostheses, both in the States.
Just watching there, you're holding your hands together, you're touching your hands as if it's a normal hand.
Absolutely.
Would you trust it enough to do something like, supposing one of your friends had a baby?
Yes.
Would you trust it enough to cradle a baby?
Well, yes, actually. I'm lacking the godfather. I recently became the godfather. My friend of mine gave birth to her first daughter and asked me whether I wanted to be the godfather. And yes, that's how I hold the baby. There's pictures of me cradling the baby in this hand. I know a man who actually changes the diapers of his baby with one of these.
But you wouldn't feel the difference between the diapers, or nappies as we call them, and the skin itself with this, would you?
I wouldn't, but the hand is not that stupid. It has built-in pressure sensors in every finger, and it senses the touch of an object. And when it senses that there is something in its way, it stops moving, and therefore kind of adaptively grasps the object.
Now, what do you make of these guys we saw on camera there, who were having operations to surgically remove a natural but completely malfunctioning hand and replace it with one of these?
Well, in these very particular cases, I can understand their feelings and their decisions, because from what I understood is that their hands were almost without any function, almost like
Sure.
a numb piece of flesh. And that these people were also in psychological, physical agony. And to do away with that, to have something not only more functional, but also something that will take away the suffering, in this particular case, I think it is a reasonable decision to provide them with something that offers
But
them
you
more
can see
function.
where this is going. The suggestion was made in the film that
I
eventually
know.
you might be able to devise hands that are better than a human hand.
I know, and I think that the sole argument that an artificial hand has more function than an existing hand, that alone cannot be enough to justify the amputation of the hand. Because if we would only use that argument, in some distant future, I could say, you know, this artificial hand has more function than my perfectly normally fine real hand, and so I want this cut off and have the other one. And I think ethically, you know, that shouldn't be. So there need to be more criteria.
But you can already do something that none of the rest of us can do. Go on, do it. Let your party trick. Yeah. Brilliant. Okay, thank you very much indeed.
You're welcome.